the eve of one of the most monumental days on our calendar. Tomorrow, we celebrate Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th, 1947, the day Jackie made his major league debut, becoming the first black ball player in the major leagues. It ended approximately 80 years of baseball segregation. Wow. Jackie himself, one man, broke the color barrier in this game we love. He is honored daily by legends of our sport who say, if not him, there wouldn't be a me in this game. As we welcome you back inside, Fergie Jenkins, Hall of Famer, three-time All-Star, Cy Young winner, joins us tonight. Fergie, thank you for taking the time, and it's an honor to talk with you. For those of us who weren't fortunate enough to have met Jackie Robinson, he was the chosen one to endure all this hate for the better of the game and the people. Why him? Why that ball player?
Well, I think because of the fact that he was well-educated, had an opportunity to go to college, and the owner of the Dodgers said that he would probably be the right individual to break this individual barrier, and they proved that this was correct because of the fact that he had such a career, and people just had to endure what he was going through, along with all his teammates. You know, I know Peavy Reese was one of his favorite guys when they played, but the thing that I look back, to me, you have to have a teammate that's going to enjoy watching you play and being part of the ball club.
And Fergie, this is Curtis right here. We talked about Jackie being the first tomorrow to break the color barrier in Major League Baseball, but you, the first Canadian pitcher to win a Cy Young, the first Canadian in the Hall of Fame. I always get excited learning and understanding about those first. What did that mean for you, having seen Jackie play in Canada, then going out and having an amazing career like you did?
Well, it's humbling because the fact that, as you said, Jackie was the first. I had an opportunity to meet Jackie here in Chicago in 1968 when Jesse Jackson was in Operation Push. Billy Williams and I made the journey to the church, and Jackie talked about his short career and what it meant if you're an athlete of color to go out there and try to pursue a career. And when I look back, the proud thing that happens in the game is you got to be a good teammate. You got to be able to play together to win ball games. And I was very fortunate in that Cy Young year in '71. Guys like Santo and Kessinger, Beckert, Hundley, Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, we all played together. And I ended up having one sensational year in 1971.
Fergie, Jimmy Rollins here. You're talking about one sensational year, but you had one sensational career. Jackie Robinson, to me, obviously, a legacy and a legend in the game. When I left Philadelphia, the only place I wanted to go was to the Dodgers, and that was to wear 42, because all the years I would see the Dodgers on Jackie Robinson Day, I would feel something. It was a little envious that I didn't get a chance. So I finally had a chance to go. Being from Canada, did it have the same effect on you as it did on American blacks to see Jackie break that color barrier, you being able to watch him go through his career, and then you being the next generation, a Hall of Famer, and also the time that you spent in Philly, who was the last National League team to have a black player come on. You spent some time there, and you got to play with another Hall of Famer and Dick Allen. Can you talk about those experiences?
Well, I mean, it's part of a life because the fact that things that happen to you, you're in the spotlight a lot of times. And the fact that I played with Dick Allen in the minor leagues and then just briefly in the Phillies until I got traded, you know, you see the talent that these other individuals have, and you're kind of proud that you had that fact to play with these individuals. But for Jackie and to wear that number 42, I'd already retired. I would have loved to put that uniform on and celebrated that weekend that people across the world has an opportunity now. You know, what's nice is that when one individual is able to, I think, cross a barrier and do some sensational situations, I think the honor, people really don't understand it as much as they should. But I think players of color do.
Fergie's Jake Peavy. I come from a town of Mobile, Alabama that has Hall of Famers like Hank Aaron and Willie McCovey and Billy Williams, Satchel Paige. They talk about Jackie Robinson and getting able to put their eyes on him and what it meant to them. I want to take it a little bit different of a route and just talk about out in those days, you guys worked in the off season. You played for the Harlem Globetrotters. I want you to tell me a little bit about that experience in an off-season training routine. You're dunking with the Globetrotters?
Yeah. In 1967, they just got through winning 20 games. Joe Anzavino was the marketing individual with the Globetrotters, and their office was downtown Chicago. He came to the ballpark and got a hold of me and wanted to find out if I was going to go back to Canada in the off season, which I tell him, yes. I play baseball for an 8-month visa, so generally I have to go back home. So he said, the Globetrotters are going to open up in Montreal. Would you like to join them and play, maybe 24 games with them? And I said, oh, I'd love to. And he said, within 3 or 4 days, they're coming back in town. You got a chance to meet Curly, Leon Hilliard, and Meadowlark, and quite a few of the fellas that are on that ball club. Would you like doing that? I said, I'd be love to do it, which I did. I ended up playing 3 seasons with them, 67, 8, and 9 in the off season, running up and down the court, playing the third quarter each night, being the pitcher that gave up the home run each night to Meadowlark in that skip in the third quarter. But it was fun. I mean, Jackie Jackson was a great guy. Marcus Haynes would travel with him from time to time. He's one of the older Globetrotters. And just seeing that the talent that they have, putting it on a court from different cities, city to city, and playing basketball. I'll give you an interesting situation. The mecca of basketball is Madison Square Garden. Believe me, Meadowlark Lemon, each night we played there, he would turn out and score and do his thing. People loved him.
Oh, wow. Fergie, what wonderful memories. Thank you for sharing those. I feel like as we reflect on Jackie Robinson and his life and legacy, all we hear about is Jackie the hero, right? I can't imagine the scared moments in his quiet moments where he didn't feel safe and then he still had to play a baseball game. Did you get a sense in your conversations with him of the struggle he went through?
Well, I think that's what he tried to let a lot of these youngsters know that night in Chicago with Jesse Jackson. The struggle that he went through, you're going to have that opportunity yourself, but you got to overcome it. And he told the kids, education is so important. Get an education, and if you think that you still want to play a sport, just pursue it. The nice thing about it, but he tried to get it across to these youngsters, and they're all 17, 18, 19 years old, so they're still in high school. So I think what the perception that he had, he didn't really tell them what he went through because of the fact that he was threatened so much. He was afraid to do certain things, but he ended up playing and doing a great job with the Dodgers.
Right, indeed he did, and changed this game forever. What beautiful words. Thank you for sharing your relationship with a man who changed our sport forever. Fergie Jenkins, thank you. An honor to talk with you tonight. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Wow. Pretty incredible. We've come a long way, I feel like, in this sport. Have we, from 1947 to 2026, and is there still more ways to go? Do we have?
I think so. I think what Fergie talked about there, that educating, that understanding of how you are in this position where you are today, and not forgetting that you need to know, like, if it wasn't for individuals like Jackie, like Fergie, do we have the great Canadian ball players? Do we have the great black ball players? Do we have the great international game? If it wasn't for those players to step in and succeed in the way that they did.
The quote we always see from Jackie, life isn't important except for the impact it has on other lives. That's what we're here on this earth to do, right? Is impact other lives. And that was him at his pinnacle. My goodness.
No doubt. And in our everyday lives, we're parents. All of us are parents. We see the impact we have on our own children. What we don't see is when we're in uniform, the impact we have on others. And it only appears when you come across someone and they tell you about a moment that happened and where they were and what it meant, or they ran into you and they shook your hand and you talk to them, and you're going through life, you're meeting so many people. You don't understand that until 10, 15 years later, that moment changed their life. They were going through something that personally, and just you saying a little hello, having that time to spend with them, how much of a difference that makes. And Jackie did that through generations. Even long after he was gone, it's still Jackie Robinson, because what he meant not just on a baseball field, but what he meant to American society.
My history of where I grew up and from is not the same if it wasn't for what Jackie did. And we can go back to 2 years ago at Rickwood Field, as special of an event as I've been part of in Major League Baseball.
It stayed with you, Jake. I remember that.
Look, and now we're acknowledging the Negro League stats as a part of professional baseball history in the Hall of Fame, which should have been. But think about Josh Gibson. Satchel Paige is from my hometown, barely hung on, getting to the big leagues at 46, waiting on Jackie to persevere like he did. So, ton of great stories out of it. And baseball, to your point, Curtis, I think continues to make sure that all has a chance to play.
You guys are big, tough ball players. So to see your appreciation is pretty darn cool on the eve of Jackie Robinson Day around the major leagues. Next.